So who likes Chinese food? Me too. How do you know when you go to a Chinese restaurant if a dish is really Chinese? Hey everyone, welcome to YesterKitchen. I'm Jill, and if you love food, retro, and nostalgia, you are in the right place. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, I've got another good one for you. So first, I want to thank everyone so much for all the great feedback I got from my Almost Famous Friends series. Seriously, I got emails, I got messages on my Instagram, my Facebook, and I got a lot of great comments. I really appreciate it. My friends had so much fun. I had so much fun. And I'll start working on another series for you. I actually have something in mind that I think you're really gonna like. But for now, I wanna take one more second and I wanna thank a friend of mine. See that tile behind me? It's a marble tile, and my friend April made it for me. She literally etched it. Yeah, she etched it for me. So it's got both of my logos. It means the world to me. I'll give you a close-up here. Take a look, because back there just doesn't do it justice. So see, it's gorgeous, and I just wanted to say for a minute, April, thank you so much. This is like one of the most amazing gifts I've ever received. So now, let's talk about Chinese food, or is it Chinese food? Today we're going to explore egg foo young. So where did that come from? It came out of the gold rush. And by the way, if you do love the gold rush, I did another gold rush video a while ago. Check it out, I'll put it up there. And it actually made the newspapers, this particular episode. I'll put a link below. And while you're here, all my recipes are available at YesterKitchen.com. But let's talk about egg foo young. So in the 1850s, which is when the gold rush was, everybody from all over the country came to, try to stake their claim and make their fortune. But it wasn't just the country. People all over the world came to Northern California to hope to find their riches. And of course, one of the groups was from China. So there were all kinds of Chinese miners that were unlucky. And some of them, as most miners were, and some of them decided, you know what, I'm not gonna do this mining thing anymore. I am gonna cook, because there's so many people here that need to eat, and I know everybody was missing food from their home country. So they started opening up little tiny restaurants. Some of the first Chinese restaurants were called Chow Chows. Is that the cutest name? I love it. I wish they were still called that. So anyway, these Chow Chows catered to the Chinese taste. They were actually, Chinese were one of the very first groups to use nose to tail cooking. Back in the 1850s, we didn't do that here in America, but the Chinese did. So they would actually have their food in their restaurants. But here in America, people were like, I don't know about this, it looks a little weird. So the Chinese, very, very smart, had to come up with a way to attract American clientele. First, I'm gonna start making this, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about it. So egg foo young, super easy. It's gonna go quick. I'm gonna just turn up my fire a little bit, because we're gonna need that in a second. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with 6 eggs. And we're gonna beat them. What I like to do, I always poke my yolks first before I beat them. You don't have to, it's just my thing. But you really wanna make sure it's beaten really well. So once your eggs are super beaten, you know what beaten eggs look like, you're gonna add 1 cup of canned bean sprouts. If you don't have canned bean sprouts, because sometimes markets don't have them, and actually I'm more of a favor of organic vegetables, so what I do is I buy a package of fresh bean sprouts, put them in a pot of boiling salted water for maybe about 4 minutes until they get wilty, until they look like canned bean sprouts. And then I drain them, and that's what I do. But please, grab yourself a can and drain the can, because that is fine too. This recipe is from the very early 60s, and that was when Chinese food in cans, the ready convenience food, was just coming available. So go ahead and celebrate that. So you're just gonna mix your bean sprouts in, like that. And now we have 3/4 of a cup of very, very finely sliced onions. And then the last thing we're gonna add is a cup of cooked shrimp. Not super finely chopped, because you wanna see it in the pancake, but a little coarsely chopped. You don't like shrimp? Use roast pork, cooked. If you don't like roast pork, use chicken. If you don't like meat, don't put any in. This is like such a versatile recipe. So we're gonna mix this together until everything is incorporated. Just like that, super easy. Okay, put these out of the way. And we're gonna move our frying pan in. There we go. This is pretty much it besides the sauce. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, canola oil, whatever kind of oil you want. Well, not olive oil. You want an unflavored oil. You don't want a taste of that. And we're just gonna swirl that around. In cooking school, I learned something very important. Hot pan, cold oil. So that's what you do. And then you just wait for your oil to heat up. It just takes like a minute because your pan's already warm. And we're gonna take our mixture. And you're just gonna kind of make, maybe about 1/3 of a cup. You're just gonna make little pancakes. So how did this non-Chinese dish become Chinese? So let's go back to while these things are cooking. You just wanna get them nice and browned. So we'll let them cook for a second. This recipe is maybe gonna make about 6 to 8 pancakes depending on how many you want. So, or how big they are, sorry. So how did this become American? So people, like I said, were like very unsure about going to these chow chows because there's very different food. So the Chinese said, well, let's try to make some of our dishes transform into something that's more of an American taste. Well, what do Americans love the most? Fried and gravy, right? So this is actually a recipe that was adapted from a recipe from Shanghai called fuyang. And they decided to take these pancakes and fry them in oil and make a gravy for them. And now that they're a little more familiar to the Americans, it's like, hey, I want to try that. And they did, and they loved it. And then Chinese food just started to branch out and become more and more popular and spread across the country. And probably by the 1950s, Chinese food was huge. And as a matter of fact, as a little girl, I was not around in the 50s, but as a little girl, I remember going to Chinese restaurants. I'm gonna turn the fire up a little bit more. And they were actually more formal than they are now. They would you need to give me a comment so I know I'm not alone on this. But I remember they would serve all the dishes on little metal dishes on pedestals, and everything was formal, and all the waitstaff was dressed up very, very traditionally. And it was just such a cool experience. Do you remember those silver pedestals? Please let me know. I don't want to feel alone up here. But I'm not that old. So anyway, let's check on our pancakes. You just really want to, yeah, they need a few more minutes. So anyway, so Chinese food just kind of spread around, and of course they adapted more dishes to the American taste. I hate to break this to you, but here's some dishes that are not really Chinese. They're Americanized Chinese. Anything sweet and sour, egg rolls, General Tso's chicken, fortune cookies. Actually, if you take a fortune cookie to China, people will be like, what is this? So it's actually came to America by way of Japan, but that's a different story. Even though you get them with your check at every Chinese restaurant, they're really not Chinese. But I just love how everything just kind of comes together and forms into a new culture. So let's take a look at our pancakes. So we're just gonna go ahead and scrape them underneath and give them a flip. Look at that. They're just so beautiful and brown. And no, they don't have to be perfect circles. So now we're gonna let them sit on the other side. I'm gonna let you sit for a minute while these kind of turn brown. I'm gonna give them another maybe 2 minutes. You definitely want them cooked through, and I'll be right back. Okay, so our pancakes have been cooking for about 2 to 3 minutes. Take a look. They're beautiful. They're nice and golden brown. And I've gone ahead and flipped them maybe once during the cooking time, because you don't want raw eggs in the center, right? So you just want to make sure they're completely cooked down. And of course, I have the perfect plate for this dish. So we're just gonna put our pancakes on the plate. I will keep making more pancakes after we're done filming, but for right now, look at that. They're beautiful. What you're gonna do is you're gonna put your pancakes on a plate that will not melt in the oven and put them in a warm oven. That's it, just let them sit and be warm. I'm gonna leave them here because, well, we're here. Okay, so now if you're gonna have egg foo young, you're gonna need the gravy, right? Because fried in gravy, it's the American way, at least the Chinese American way. And by the way, I've got another great chop suey recipe for you that's also not super Chinese, and especially because this one has bacon, so stay tuned for that one. But in the meantime, I've got a cute little saucepan. If you don't have anything this small, use the smallest one you have. You're totally good. Okay, so you're gonna start with a 1/2 cup of cold water. And you're gonna add a teaspoon of cornstarch. Whoa, I'm not even showing you, I'm sorry. You're gonna add a teaspoon of cornstarch. Oh, there we go. Hold on a second. I need both of my hands because you want all the cornstarch in there. This is your thickening agent. And you're just gonna use a tiny whisk, or if you don't have one, a fork or a bigger whisk, whatever works. A whisk is usually the best thing for this because it really breaks up the cornstarch and gets incorporated into the water. So anyway, make sure that's super mixed together, okay? Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it on medium flame. Now it's all teaspoons. A teaspoon of soy sauce, a teaspoon of sugar, a teaspoon of vinegar. Use either apple cider vinegar or white vinegar. Don't use flavored vinegars, it'll ruin the profile, the flavor profile. So anyway, I have apple cider vinegar, but if you have white vinegar at home, use that. And 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So I lied, it's not all 1 teaspoon. And you're gonna mix all that together. And then you just wanna let it sit and cook and keep stirring until it thickens. So give me a minute and we'll be right back and I'll let you know exactly how long I've been stirring. Okay, so our sauce has been cooking for about 10 minutes. It needs a while, cornstarch, to kind of start saying, hey, how you doing? I'm at the party. But then it'll start thickening up. It's not a super thick sauce. It's a very slightly thick sauce. So don't expect like gravy, but you'll see. So anyway, here's our sauce. It's just a tiny bit thickened up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn off our fire. And this is why your egg fouillon needs to sit in a warm oven so everything is happy and toasty and ready to go. Uh-oh. Whisk overboard. So, well here, let's start with this. I'm gonna put our sauce into this cute little pitcher. So as you can see, it's slightly thick, but nothing that you can't pour. It's easily poured. Okay, so we've got our sauce and we've got our egg fouillon. And the only thing left is I like to decorate. So I have some very finely sliced green onions because that's very Chinese. So we're just gonna kind of pour some of our sauce over, just like that. Sprinkle with a few onions. And seriously, you're done. It's time for dinner. That's it. Give it a try. Make it for your family, make it for your friends, tell them the history because this is how we keep the old recipes alive and going. And this is my favorite thing to do. So this is Chinese food in America. This is just one of many dishes. But if you really want to try real Chinese food, hopefully you're near a Chinatown or a restaurant that really serves authentic Chinese food because it's amazing. But this is the classics, this is American food history, and I hope you had fun. And I've got a couple more recipes for you so you can keep going, and please always remember, history has never tasted so good.